Hi, my name is Joe Mazza, First Selectman of Guilford. I'm joined today with a couple of our Guilford finest, which is Sergeant Massey from the Police Department, Jim Portley, Director of Public Works and the Town Engineer, and Captain Cho from the Guilford Fire Department. The reason we're here today is to talk to you about winter preparedness, even though today it's about 50 degrees, right, gentlemen? And tomorrow is December 1st, but unfortunately, winter is coming. And we have done this every couple of years to advise the citizens of Guilford of how to prepare for winter and how to deal with particularly snow and ice and freezing rain. And not only to deal with it on driving conditions, but also how to prepare your home and keep your home safe for you and your family. I'd like to start off with Sergeant Massey and explain what the rules are as far as driving and the keeping your car free of snow and the other regulations that we have in town with the police department.
Thank you.
Sergeant.
All right, so in the town of Guilford, we have a couple of town ordinances that everyone needs to be aware of. The first is the snow ban parking ordinance. Between December 1st and April 1st of every year, vehicles cannot be parked in the roadway between the hours of 1 a.m. and 7 a.m. And also they cannot be parked in the roadway during any snow removal operations. So if there's a snowstorm out and our plows are out, DPW plows are out, do not park your car in the roadway. What will happen is we have officers out at night checking roadways to ensure that the vehicles are not parked out there. Your vehicles may be subject to a parking tag, and if it's an active snowstorm where snow removal is ongoing, the vehicles will be tagged and could potentially be towed at the owner's expense. So it's something that we'd like the community just to be aware of and try to work with us. We have been out for the last month giving out warnings to as many people as possible to try to give a heads up. So as you're watching this, just advise your neighbors, try to have everyone aware that they should not have their vehicles in the roadway overnight. The other town ordinance that is noteworthy is the sidewalk snow removal ordinance. As a property or business owner in the town of Guilford, you're required to remove snow or ice from the sidewalk within 24 hours after a storm has ended. At the 24-hour mark, we have patrol officers going out and checking sidewalks around the community. If they're not clear, we're going to leave you a yellow tag warning on your property or your business, and we're going to try to make contact with you to advise you that you're in violation of the ordinance, and we'll give you a little bit more time to clear it out. And at the 48-hour mark is where we then take enforcement action, and the condition is then forwarded to the selectman's office and DPW for removal at the owner's expense of the snow. Just some tips for drivers. The winter months are here. It's inherently more dangerous for people to be out driving during snow and ice storms. So there's a few things that everyone should be aware of that are state laws. There's a state law for clearing your windshields, so you shouldn't allow any accumulation to build up on your windshield and try to drive. So if you're out and you want to just clear that little spot in front of you and try to drive, that's actually a violation of the law. You do need to clear the entire windshield and ensure that you're able to properly see out of it. There's an additional law for clearing off your vehicle. Any accumulation on your hood, the trunk, on the roof of your vehicle, which can potentially become a hazard to other drivers. You need to clear that off. Again, that's also an infraction that if we see you out driving and we stop you, you can get a ticket for it. And lastly, there is a speeding law specific to traveling too fast for conditions. So we have posted speed limits around town. However, those posted speed limits, when there's a snowstorm or ice storm, even if you're traveling below the limit, if it's too fast for the conditions, you could still be subject to being stopped and receiving an infraction for that. During this time of year, roadways are more narrow. If there's snow accumulation that's been plowed off to the side, there may be people walking around that are trying to get from point A to point B. They're walking in the street, unfortunately, trying to get downtown or somewhere else. That's an additional hazard in the roadway that drivers need to be aware of. And we just ask that everyone operate safely and have a safe holiday season.
Thank you, Sergeant. So, just to sum up, clearing that little spot in front of your window
Yes.
and windshield, it's not gonna cut it. You have to
No,
clear
needs
the
to be
entire
the
windshield.
entire windshield.
Okay.
You need to be able to see adequately.
Okay, great, thank you. Questions always arise in the selectman's office and in Public Works is, when is my street gonna be cleared, right? So, we'll let Jim, our town engineer and director of Public Works, explain to you, and I think it's good information, is to get out there, what is the protocol and or procedure, is how Public Works goes about clearing the roads. So, Jim, you want to pick that up, please?
Sure. Be aware that Guilford is a fairly large town, it's 46 square miles. We plow about 185 miles of road. To do this efficiently, we've divided the town into 14 plow routes. These routes encompass all ranges of roads, thoroughfares, cul-de-sacs, narrow roads. The more easily plowed districts or routes are ones that have just main roads, and we have always the obligation to keep our main thoroughfares open at all times. So that's our primary focus as the storm begins. If you live on a cul-de-sac off a main road, that will be plowed after the main road is plowed, sanded, and made safe for travelers. We have to keep those as the lifeblood of the community for emergency services and for people traveling back and forth to work. After those roads are plowed and sanded and salted if necessary, then we turn to do the other roads, the different classifications of roads. Down along the shore, we have, let me back up a second. Although 13 of the routes are main roads, they're handled by large trucks with large sanding capacity. Along the shore, we have narrow roads. The problem with many of those roads is that being narrow, we can't put big trucks down there. So we have smaller trucks down there. This would include the Mulberry Point area, Indian Cove area, Leeds Island, Old Quarry, New Quarry, those areas down there that we still have to service, and we still do service, but we have to use the smaller trucks. They don't have the capacity for sand. So there's many times we're in the process of plowing, we run out of sand, they have to go back to the main facility we have at the Public Works Garage to reload. But we do many times have 2 or 3 trucks down there to service that area. There's a lot of miles down there, narrow roads that take a little more time. It's a lot more difficult to plow those roads than it is to say get on Long Hill Road and truck goes up and down and it takes care of the main road in one pass on one side and then the other side coming down. So each plow route has its own particular problems. The easier ones have the main thoroughfares, but they are very important to us. It's always a difficult time to call. When do you go out? When do you not go out? Generally, we're from December 1st on, we're looking at the forecasts on a regular basis, trying to forecast when we'll be called out, when we need to go out. And we're very diligent about that. We have a weather service that provides us with pretty good forecast. We don't rely on the commercial TV or anybody else. We have our own service for that, and it's very common with Public Works operations throughout the state that they have the same service. When that will tell us when to start. What's very difficult to answer for the selectmen or the Public Works Department when we get there is when will somebody's road be plowed? Again, our primary focus are the main thoroughfares, and then in order what we consider the priority roads in an area. If there are through roads, and I'll just say pick a road that has a loophole on it. A loop, it's, say, off Moose Hill Road, you got Kenneth Circle. It's a road you can make a pass through, in and out. That may go first than a cul-de-sac. So there's we try to get as many homes and much area of a plow route serviced as quickly as possible. So those things that are particular to any plow route will always be. We have people on the phones 24/7 when there's a storm going on, and so we can try to at least tell you where we are with the plowing
So
process.
Jim, a general rule of thumb for people to understand this is the major roads are done first,
Always,
and secondary roads next.
yeah.
And then your cul-de-sacs and your subdivisions are third
Right.
on the list, basically.
Right. Yes, and it's just, it sometimes it takes, you get a heavy storm.
Yep.
We will find that we have to keep going back and forth on that main plow route. We just can't say, okay, it's done once.
Right.
If we're snowing a couple of, an inch an hour or a couple inches an hour, we have to stay on the main roads.
Right. And because of the geography of Guilford, we have almost different weather patterns.
We have
within the state.
four, actually, we feel we have four different zones. You have immediately along the shore,
Yeah.
and that goes maybe up to the green. Then from the green, north to the turnpike is another kind of area. Then from the turnpike up to Stepstone Hill Road or New England Road, if you go across, that's another area. Then you have another one above Stepstone, that sometimes actually divides again at Route 80. So north of Route 80, you're in Vermont. You got the heavy zone areas, you got the steep grades, you got the more difficult areas when you have a heavy snowstorm. But again, it depends on the storm. Sometimes you have a storm that comes along the shore, and we get all the snow along the shore, and then North Guilford gets very little. So there's no real predicting, but we do have different zones, and we see that all the time when we're out there. What treatments we have to use on roads? Some places we just use sand, a mixture of sand, a little bit of salt. Other places, like in North Guilford, if you got a real heavy snow, you have to put what they call it's a magic salt. It has a longer freeze time. It'll go down to much lower temperatures before freezing, and we have to play that as we see it. There's no predicting it off the bat. So it's a process that takes a lot of constant thought and recalibration to do effectively, and I think we try very hard to get that done.
And I just want to repeat one fact that you mentioned. It's important for everybody to realize that Guilford does have 185 miles of road. Town road.
Yep.
That's not counting state road. Town road that your department has to clear.
Right.
So it's a big job.
You divide that by 14, you
Yeah.
do the math. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of miles
Yeah.
that have to be taken care of.
Okay.
And the one last thing I would ask, and it's kind of a pet peeve, a lot of the plow drivers, they get a road plow, they think the road's in good shape to move on, and then somebody comes along and plows out their driveway and they leave it right in the middle of the road. That really is, we have kind of held off calling the PD to enforce whatever ordinances they can enforce. But to me, it's like a littering or putting obstruction in the road, because we don't want to really get into a situation where we're fighting with our neighbors. But it is unsafe. You create these situations where, and I understand, you hire a plow driver, you're paying them good money to come in and plow at your road, and if he leaves in there, you've paid already and he's gone. I think if people would be more aware to tell their plow drivers, if you plow in, plow away from putting the snow in the road, that would really be appreciated. We don't want to have a situation where we feel we've left the road in a safe condition and somebody comes after us and leaves an obstruction or an unsafe condition.
That's an extremely important point that I'd like to stress, and I'm glad you brought it up, is that when you have a contractor, or even if you plow the street the driveway yourself or you snow blow it yourself, please don't have the snow pushed back into the street, because that creates a problem for the the Public Works Department, and it creates a hazard in the way of sightlines too.
Yes.
Am I right, Sergeant?
Yes.
Okay. What happens is then you're gonna call the Public Works Department or the Selectman's office and saying that my street wasn't done. Or your neighbor's gonna call.
Yeah.
And your street was done, it's just that somebody who had their driveway plowed had the snow from their driveway pushed back into the street.
Right.
So that causes more problems. Our trucks are gonna come out and do that street again. And it causes a safety problem, like Jim mentioned. So please, we say this every year, instruct your contractors, or if you do it yourself, please don't push the snow back in the street. It's not safe, and it causes double work, and it costs the town more money to put that driver back out there again.
Yeah, and-
Can't say it enough.
Right. It's only, you know, consider your, not only the public works, but consider your neighbors. I mean, we're all traveling these roads. Let's leave them as safe as we can. It's bad enough with the snow conditions as they are, and we're trying to remediate any kind of storm we're dealing with. But once we have other factors come into it that are out of our control, then we have a real problem. So just to be show a little kindness to not only the public works but to your neighbors. The one other last thing I would like to say is, and I'm probably guilty of it more than anybody else. We leave the house thinking your mind is where you're going, not necessarily how I'm going to get there. Maybe I should leave more time. Maybe I should slow down. The sergeant talked about that. Traveling too fast for the conditions. I mean, you can have posted speed limits at 20, 25 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour. They don't mean anything if you're driving along and there's snow and ice on the road. Those speed limits are for conditions when it's dry and it's sunny out. They're fine for June, July, August. They're not very good for January, February, March. In your own mind, use a little common sense. Give yourself more time, especially in the morning. You know, it's a very often we have people calling Public Works saying, "I got to get to work." You know, the road isn't plowed. Well, we tried to get those roads and we tried to get them open, but you have to understand that it isn't the same thing as driving on the roads in the spring and the fall or the summer. You've got to allow more time, and it's only for your sake and your safety that I bring this point up.
Thank you, Jim. I'd like to bring Captain Shove in now from the fire department.
Thank you for
Captain,
the
you have a couple of things to
a couple things
bring
we
to our
just
attention. Yep.
yeah, thanks for the opportunity. A couple things we'll talk about on the fire safety side. Statistically, the months of December, January, and February are more than half the home fires occur across the country in a given year. Some of the sources of those are heating equipment, improperly installed fireplaces or space heaters, not used by the manufacturer's recommendations. Candles is up on the list. Pellet stoves and cooking, either attended or unattended cooking. If somebody puts something on the stove and they forget about it or they walk away from it, it's very important to attend to it. One of the things we've also found in town, very common cause of some past structure fires, is improperly disposed ashes. So if you are going to use heat with wood and you are going to use a fireplace, when it comes time to take the ashes out, make sure you take them outside the house. Make sure they are cool, not into the garage or not in another part of the house, but take them all the way outside the house and dispose of them properly. That has happened in the past where we have had structure fires. Some of the other important things that help us, fire hydrants. Anybody that has a fire hydrant on their property, we like to ask if they can keep it cleared 3 feet back. If they're out there shoveling the driveway or shoveling their walkway and they have time, it's a big help to if they can help out and clear back 3 feet from the fire hydrant so we can get all of our equipment on it and it's functioning properly. Along with fire safety, we also talk about carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide emergencies are very common. Sometimes they're just faulty detectors, but it's important that you don't pass something off as a faulty detector. If anytime that CO detector goes off, the best thing to do is call 911, notify the fire department, and have us respond out. We have real-time metering capability to say yes or no, there is carbon monoxide or there's not carbon monoxide there. And the other important thing we do too is we're partnered up with, it's called Operation Saves Lives. If somebody can't afford a smoke detector or CO detector, they can come down to the firehouse and they're donated through this program, so we can get one and properly install it in your house. And if somebody's not sure about any of that, or they have a question about anything, the fire marshals offer home inspections. So they can also call to the fire marshal's office and have somebody come out if they're not sure where a smoke detector or CO detector goes, or they have any questions about fire safety or carbon monoxide safety. The last thing I was going to talk about, and you already hit some of the things, is that traveling, unsafe for conditions. A lot of times, police, fire, public works, we're out there on the roads when it's snowing out and reducing that speed. A lot of times our trucks are parked over on the side of the road temporarily, whether it's a motor vehicle accident or a medical at somebody's house, and just paying extra attention. A lot of people are distracted today. Accidents happen quick, especially when it's snowing out there. But if they do see the lights on the side of the road, and whether it's police, fire, public works pulled over, that they just make sure to slow down, give us a little bit extra space, or take the time. That's about it for the fire department.
Thank you, Captain. A couple of questions. The fire marshal service for inspection, that's a free service?
Yes.
Okay. And to get a smoke detector or carbon monoxide detector, they'd come to the fire headquarters?
Yep. 390 Church Street.
Okay.
Or call 203-453-8056 is a fire headquarters phone number.
You want to repeat that again? I was going.
Sure. It's the fire headquarters phone number is 203-453-8056.
Okay, thank you. One more thing before we have any closing remarks is that Guilford has invested some good deal of money in their mass notification system operated by Everbridge, and we have about 1,300 people signed up for it. If you have a landline, you're already signed up for it, but you can get notifications on your cell phone, PC, iPad, or any mobile device by going on the website, and there's a link to it to sign up, and I recommend that you do sign up for it. We don't abuse it. We use it for town-related events, road closures. We just used it this week when we had Great Hill Road closed up for an extensive road repair and culverts replaced there. Yes. And people are the ones who are signed up and get notifications on their mobile devices and their landlines have been very satisfied with the notifications that they received. But it's particularly important when we get to the winter months and we have weather events that you are part of this program, because we're able to get to everyone immediately. It's not like the reverse 911. The reverse 911 is a system that takes quite some time to get to everybody. This is an immediate system, but you have to sign up for it to get notified on your mobile device. Again, if you have a landline, you're going to get notified immediately, but if you're not home, you don't get notified if you're not signed up for the system on your mobile device. So if you get onto the website or call up the selectman's office, if you're having trouble signing up for it, the ladies in the selectman's office will be very happy to help you, or you can just stop in. They'll help you. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to add? Okay.
I would just add on that that's a great system. People say, well, look at the town website. Well, we're all busy.
Yeah.
But it's really helped on Great Hill Road. People were informed. We didn't have the traffic issues or people driving up the road and saying, oh, and then having to turn around. It really worked out really well. And I didn't hear any real complaints about the road being closed. We did let people know in advance, and I think that just is another little service to our community. It makes things work a lot better.
And it's worked well when we've had road blockages from trees falling down or accidents, whatever. We just say, avoid these roads, and we put it out there. And it's,
During the hurricanes, that was a nice way to
It was great.
notification in short periods of time, get everybody this important message of stuff going on.
Captain, you want to spend just a couple of minutes on the VOC system and how we at the EOC are able to,
Sure.
with the police department and
Yeah,
the
we,
public works able to control or
Yep.
monitor events?
Yeah, the nice part is we have an internal system that we use for emergency operations that all town departments can be notified, and real time they have knowledge of when somebody calls the police department and says, a tree fell and the road is closed on Route 77. We can automatically put it in the system, and all the departments that are involved that need the information can see everything real time. And we use it. The other part is internal notification of anything going on amongst the departments. Say, hey, this is we need people in the emergency operations center, staffing. The other important piece is accountability down the road for FEMA reimbursement. That we have accountability of all trees and wires, damage, structural damage, water damage, and stuff like that. And we've used it in the past couple of storms, and it's worked out very successful.
So from what we call the EOC, Emergency Operations Center, we can get that information and then advise our citizens through Everbridge or the mass notification system. So,
Yeah, so as somebody reports it real time, we
Yep.
can get the information right out to everyone else.
okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's hope we don't have to use any of this and we have a mild winter like we had last year.
No snow.
So, again, I'm Joe Mazza, and thank you for watching this program, and hope this was very informative. And have a safe and happy winter. Thank you.